getting gas will be the death of me. Let's see, we went to the strip. I got gas before and after that. Came home and this is the first time I've driven the car since then, and I'm already putting more gas in it. So, yeah. Alright everybody, so this is what I wanted to talk about. Today we are starting the turbo build. So this is going to be part one in a new build series that I'm just going to label the Lexus IS300 single turbo build. And this is going to be part one, and in part one we are going to be pulling the motor. And so you can see the car here behind me. What we are going to be doing today is we are going to take the front bumper off, pull out the cooling accessories to clear out the front end, take apart the center radiator core support, take off the crash bar and the intercooler, all that fancy schnaz, and basically make it to where we can just pull the motor out of the car, because we're pulling motor and transmission and all. I debated on whether I wanted to do this. I originally wanted to just take the transmission off the motor and pull the motor straight up and out so I wouldn't have to take all that stuff apart, but I realized in the amount of time it would take me to jack that car up, get underneath it, do all the bolts and everything to separate the flex plate, torque converter, and then eventually the transmission from the motor, I realized it would just be easier to disconnect the drive shaft and pull it all out, because the front end is probably a lot easier to access and get to and take apart than the back end is. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing, guys. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. Okay, so just remember, for the sake of this build, I'm going to do my best to be as detail oriented as possible and show you guys how to do all this stuff. But you also have to remember I'm the only one here, so for the sake of time, efficiency, and everything, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show you guys absolutely everything, but I'll do my best. So for starters, you're going to want to disconnect the battery. My battery's already relocated to the trunk with a circuit breaker on it, so I can just flip the circuit breaker and the battery turns off. So you're essentially going to want to disconnect the battery. Now for the IS300, we're going to remove the bumper, so you have to take out this screw, these tabs, and then there is one on, there's two on each side right here, and then the skid plate underneath it. But with the turbo setup, you have to remove all that anyway, so it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take the bumper out now. Okay, so we have the bumper off now. Next plan of attack, we are taking the little crush pad out, bumper guard slash bash bar slash crash bar thing out, and then taking apart the intercooler, the piping, all of that stuff, and then the radiator and shroud, and then the core support and the condenser. Clear out the whole front end, and then from there we will unplug the ECU, disconnect the fuel return line at the regulator, disconnect the fuel line, unhook the shifter linkage in the drive shaft, and undo the motor mounts. And after that we should be, and the AC lines, and then we should be golden to pull the motor out, considering power steering isn't hooked up. But anyway, yeah, slowly but surely we are getting there. Updates when we have them. Also, it's always a great idea to have some sandwich bags, Ziploc bags, saran wrap, even anything that you can put these in. Or I know some people just do red Solo cups, but I don't like that idea because they can fall over or whatever. But anyway, always keep some of these handy. You can get these for like $2 or $3 at the grocery store. And identify every part you get, write it down, and then you'll have all the pieces you need to put it back together. So that way you don't have to worry about losing bolts. Alright, crash bar and everything is off. It's just 3 12mm bolts on each side right there. Got all that stuff off, got it labeled in bags, and now we attack the intercooler piping, I believe. Yep, this is going to be where it gets complicated. Alright, pipes are out of the front of the intercooler. Take off the bracket right there, and there, here, and here, and it should just come out. Intercooler is unbolted. Took a little bit longer than I expected getting all the hoses and stuff out of the bottom end, but yeah, progress still moving along. All right, so bolt here, here, and here, and that removes the brace for the core support and for the hood latch. So we're gonna take that out, and then this bolt here, 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 and here, and the top piece comes out. And then the condenser and the radiator and all that jazz can come out. But before you remove this piece, you're gonna wanna drain the fluids out of your radiator and whatnot. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take all this apart and then get to that. Okay people, the front end is apart. Pretty simple. Just gotta remember where all the bolts go. Went ahead and took all the intercooler pipes off, the radiator hoses and such. Now just got to unhook the ECU, fuel return, fuel feed on the underside, AC hose right there, starter cable, and motor mounts, and then disconnect the shift linkage on the transmission, and then pull the drive shaft, and this sucker is ready to get plucked out of there. It's pretty simple. It's not that as hard to do as everybody thinks it is. The very first time when we pulled the stock motor, that was my very first time ever pulling a motor, and since then, I mean, it's cake. When you do this swap, you really learn this motor inside and out. You learn all the, if you do it right, you learn most of the little, little neat details and stuff about it, and you learn where everything is on the motor, and then essentially you know it like the back of your hand. Like I could just about tell you what just about everything on this motor is. And so yeah, so there's hope for people that don't know how to work on their cars. A lot of people think that it takes a lot of money or it takes a lot of knowledge and experience in doing stuff like this, but really I can honestly tell you the best thing to do for stuff like this is just get hands-on with it. That's the best way to go about learning things like this. So going to update you guys when Jonathan gets here. He's going to help me take the hood off, and he's going to guide me while I actually pull the motor, and I'm going to go eat some lunch between now and then come back and start unhooking all this stuff and show you guys that much, and then I'll show you guys me pulling the motor, and that'll be the end of part one. So stick around, guys. Okay, so here under the car, we're going to have to disconnect this line right here. You can't really see it. That one right there with that big bolt, that's the gas feed line. Gonna have to disconnect that. Then we're also gonna have to disconnect the cable underneath the starter right next to it, and we're gonna disconnect those, and then all we gotta do is come over here and disconnect the shift linkage wherever it is over there. No, yep, right here. Disconnect that, and then the drive shaft, and this thing's ready to go. All right, everybody. It took a good amount of time. Yeah, definitely more than it should have. The fuel feed did not want to come undone. We had to soak it in WD-40 for the longest time. The drive shaft bolts were a bitch and a half to get out, and then it took a minute to get the downpipe off. But anyways, aside from all that, everything is out and everything is free. We're not dragging anything. Let me check underneath the car. Yep, there's the drive shaft, and there is the transmission and all that stuff. Okay, so it's dark. I hope you guys can see this well enough. I'm walking everywhere with the light. But we're gonna go ahead and pull this. Literally all you do is just pull it out, slide it out of there, and it should come through. Hang on, John. And yeah, other than that, it should come out of there. So updates when we have it out, fellas. Okay, so we have the motor up and out of the car. That was actually pretty easy. A lot more straightforward than it was before the when the motor blew up last time and had to pull the stock motor out and everything. It was pretty straightforward, just a lot of unbolting shit. So offhand, we're gonna take all the turbos off. We're going to definitely fix this. This is just bypassed. As you can see, my heater core is pretty trashed. That's why my AC is not working. So yeah, gonna have to work on that for sure. And Definitely going to clean up the engine bay a little bit. My fuel pressure regulator was leaking because my dumbass did not put Teflon or any sort of Loctite or anything on any of the fittings that went into it, so it leaked, and thus you can see gas residue all over the engine bay. So this thing's also going to get properly cleaned, and we're going to go ahead and set the motor here on the ground. I'm going to back this up a little bit more and drop it onto the ground and go from there. Okay, so I don't know how well you guys can see us, but big thanks to Jonathan for helping me with the motor swap. I'm going to link his Instagram page right here. And yeah, the motor is out, and the car looks absolutely ridiculous with nothing in it. And just check out this stance, man. Look at that fender gap, like we're about to go off-roading. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. That is part 1 of the Lexus IS300 single turbo build. Tune in for part 2 in a couple days. Yeah, go follow Jonathan. He has a red 350Z that is going to be doing a lot of stuff with here shortly.
Also, drop a few comments on what I should do to it.
Don't do that.
Why not?
And anyway, guys, hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the video, and drop us a like on the video. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe for more if you're just now checking into the channel, and have a nice day.